Manus AI emerged as one of the most talked about startups in the new wave of autonomous AI tools, an AI that actually works for you instead of just generating text based on your commands. In other words, not just an assistant, but an agent. An agent that can decompose a complex task, like screening job candidates, planning a trip, or analyzing stocks, into dozens of sub-steps and execute them independently with minimal human input. The hype was genuine because it turned AI from something that answers questions into something that does the work. Within 8 months of launch, it had crossed $100 million in annualized revenue and millions of users worldwide. Then came Meta. The deal, valued at over $2 billion US, was reportedly struck in just 10 days. That kind of speed tells you everything about how badly Meta wanted this. For Meta, the logic was straightforward. They're competing aggressively with OpenAI and Google, and autonomous AI agents are the next major battleground. Rather than building from scratch, they acquired something already proven in the market. Meta also made one thing clear from the start. After the acquisition, there would be no continuing Chinese ownership interests, and Manus's remaining operations in China would be wound down entirely. That decision, more than anything else, is what lit the fuse. But the story doesn't stop in Silicon Valley, because to understand why this deal is now in crisis, you need to understand one concept: Singapore washing. Manus was originally founded in Beijing under a parent company called Butterfly Effect. But before the Meta deal closed, the team relocated its headquarters to Singapore. On the surface, it looked like a routine business decision. Singapore offers a stable legal system, strong intellectual property protection, and access to global investors. But more importantly, it acts as neutral ground between East and West. By relocating, Manus effectively repositioned itself from a China-based startup into a globally accessible company. In business terms, this wasn't just expansion, it was about becoming acquirable by a US tech giant without triggering immediate regulatory barriers. This strategy has a name: Singapore washing. It refers to the growing trend of Chinese-founded startups relocating to Singapore, specifically to reduce scrutiny from both Beijing and Washington. For a while, it looked like it had worked. Except it hadn't. The deal immediately drew fire from two directions. In the US, Senator John Cornyn, a senior member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, publicly criticized the arrangement as early as May 2025, raising national security concerns about American capital flowing to a company with Chinese origins. And in Beijing, officials were, according to the Wall Street Journal, surprised and displeased. They viewed Manus as a showcase of China's AI capabilities. And the sale felt like a direct transfer of that capability to America. China's Commerce Ministry launched a formal review questioning whether the deal complied with technology export controls, including whether user data could be shared with Meta and whether the company had followed rules on cross-border currency flows and foreign investment notifications. This was the squeeze, unwanted on both sides of the Pacific. Then came the move that made headlines around the world. Manus CEO Xiao Hong and Chief Scientist Ji Yichao were summoned to Beijing for a meeting with China's National Development and Reform Commission, the NDRC. After that meeting, they were told they could not leave the country. Exit bans, both of them. They're free to move within China, but they cannot travel internationally while the regulatory review is ongoing. And because integration with Meta's global engineering teams requires them to be present, Meta's entire integration of Manus is now effectively stalled. The code crossed the border. The engineers couldn't follow. Beijing's intervention shattered the belief that Singapore washing was a reliable playbook. It sent a message to an entire generation of Chinese founders. Relocating your company does not relocate your obligations. If you're Chinese building in China, your passport is still subject to the state that produced you. Even countries are no longer viewing AI as just software. It is increasingly treated as strategic infrastructure, and the people who build it are part of that infrastructure. So what's next for Manus and Meta? Meta has stated the transaction fully complied with applicable law, and they expect an appropriate resolution. More than 100 Manus employees have already moved into Meta's Singapore office. But with the two founders trapped in China and Beijing yet to signal whether it will push to unwind the deal entirely, the outcome remains genuinely uncertain. If Manus delivers, it could become a key part of Meta's AI ecosystem, powering everything from developer tools to automation at scale. But this story was never really just about one acquisition. It's about who gets to own the future of AI, and whether the engineers who built it will ever be free to cross a border.